Pernell Roberts and Michael Landon shared screens, but not always hearts. From 1959, when Bonanza first aired, Pernell embodied Adam Cartwright, the eldest son of the Cartwright family, steady, principled, and quietly commanding. Michael Landon, the youngest son, Little Joe, brought charm and energy that captured the nation's attention almost immediately. On screen, they were brothers. Off-screen, the story was far more complicated. For 6 seasons, Pernell walked a fine line between admiration and frustration. He respected Landon's talent, but increasingly chafed at the creative limitations of his role. The scripts he felt were shallow, and the spotlight that seemed to shine brighter on Landon. Their professional rivalry simmered beneath the surface, whispered in Hollywood corridors but rarely voiced in interviews. Pernell left the show in 1965, a decision that shocked fans and changed the trajectory of both their lives. Decades later, Pernell Roberts, who passed away in 2011, finally spoke openly about Landon, not with bitterness, but with honesty. The words he left behind revealed a truth that had been quietly haunting him for years. What exactly did he finally say about the man who was both a colleague and a shadow over his career? Pernell Roberts stepped onto the Bonanza set in 1959 with a mix of excitement and determination. Cast as Adam Cartwright, the eldest son of the Cartwright family, he brought a sense of grounded strength to the Nevada ranch. Adam was principled, thoughtful, and deliberate, a sharp contrast to the youthful exuberance of his on-screen brothers. Michael Landon, cast as Little Joe, entered the series with an energy that quickly drew audiences' attention. From the very first episodes, Landon's charisma and natural ease in front of the camera made him a rising favorite. Behind the cameras, the dynamic between Pernell and Michael was more complex than viewers could see. Pernell, already a seasoned actor with experience in theater and television, approached the role with seriousness and a commitment to depth. Landon, younger and ambitious, often relied on charm and spontaneity, traits that resonated with producers and fans alike. Pernell recognized Landon's talent, yet he felt a quiet unease as the attention increasingly favored his co-star. The tension was subtle but persistent, shaped not by personal dislike, but by differing approaches to craft and storytelling. Throughout those early years, Pernell became acutely aware of the limitations of his role. He admired the show's reach, its ability to connect with millions across America, yet he yearned for scripts that challenged him, that allowed Adam Cartwright to grow beyond the moral center of a Western family. Landon, meanwhile, adapted quickly, often improvising or finding ways to highlight Little Joe's charm. This contrast created both friction and fascination for Pernell, who watched a younger colleague flourish in ways he felt constrained from exploring. Despite these differences, moments of camaraderie did exist. On set, Pernell and Landon occasionally shared lighter scenes, laughter behind the cameras, and collaborative efforts to make episodes feel authentic. These instances offered a glimpse into the professional respect that endured even amid growing creative tension. Crew members remembered Pernell as serious, exacting, and committed, while Landon's warmth and approachability often diffused conflicts before they became public. In those early seasons, the foundation of a complicated relationship was laid, a mixture of admiration, quiet rivalry, and unspoken questions about artistic fulfillment. By 1964, after 5 seasons, Pernell's discomfort had intensified. While Landon's popularity soared, Pernell increasingly questioned whether the show allowed him to explore the depth he sought as an actor. He reflected on his craft, on the balance between fame and meaningful work, and on the subtle unease that had grown alongside Landon's rising star. Yet, even as tension simmered, Pernell continued to perform with precision, maintaining professionalism and delivering performances that would define Adam Cartwright for generations. In these early years, Pernell's emotional truth was emerging. He admired Landon's talent, yet he felt the constraints of the role weighing heavily. The rise of Bonanza brought fame and recognition, but it also illuminated a silent struggle, the desire to be more than a character defined by tradition and expectation. As the sixth season approached, Pernell faced a question that would shape his career. Could he continue under these conditions? Or would leaving the show become the only path toward creative freedom? This question would eventually lead to one of the most consequential decisions of his life, setting the stage for both conflict and revelation in the years to come. By the end of the 1964-65 season, Pernell Roberts had made a decision that would reverberate through Hollywood. He would leave Bonanza. His departure shocked fans and colleagues alike, for Adam Cartwright was central to the show's identity. Yet for Pernell, the choice was not impulsive. It stemmed from years of growing dissatisfaction, rooted in creative differences and a desire for work that challenged him. The scripts, he felt, offered little room for nuance, confining Adam to predictable moral lessons rather than exploring the complexity of a man navigating life on the Nevada frontier. Michael Landon, younger, ambitious, and increasingly central to the show's appeal, embodied a style of performance that Pernell respected, but also quietly contrasted with his own. Landon's energy and adaptability made him a natural favorite of producers and audiences, and while Pernell acknowledged this talent, he felt constrained by the role he had initially embraced with such commitment. Their relationship had never been openly antagonistic, yet beneath the cordial professionalism, tension lingered. The contrast between their approaches, Pernell's meticulous dedication and Landon's instinctive charm, highlighted the diverging paths each actor was destined to take. The decision to leave came with both relief and apprehension. Pernell knew that stepping away from a hit series carried risks. Leaving a character beloved by millions meant risking public criticism and the uncertainty of future roles. Yet staying felt like a compromise of his artistic integrity. Behind the scenes, he had expressed his frustrations with scripts, character limitations, and the direction of the show, hoping for adjustments that never materialized. The creative environment no longer aligned with his vision of meaningful storytelling. Pernell's departure was also an emotional crossroads. Leaving the role he had inhabited for 6 seasons meant stepping away from a family he had come to know on set. Cast and crew members remembered him as disciplined, exacting, and deeply committed to authenticity. Yet he carried a sense of personal responsibility for the void his absence might create. Michael Landon, meanwhile, would continue on the series, embracing new opportunities and solidifying his status as a television icon. Pernell's choice underscored the reality that professional paths, even when intertwined, could diverge dramatically. Publicly, Pernell maintained professionalism. Interviews at the time were measured, cautious, and focused on his next projects rather than past conflicts. He did not disparage colleagues or producers. Instead, he emphasized the importance of pursuing work that felt true to his craft. Privately, however, he reflected on the mixture of admiration and unease that had defined his time on Bonanza. Departing was liberation, yet it carried a shadow of uncertainty. Would audiences understand? Would critics judge? And could he continue to grow as an actor outside the success of the series? Ultimately, Pernell's choice illuminated an enduring truth. Creative fulfillment often requires courage to walk away, even when doing so risks security and recognition. His decision marked the end of one chapter and the beginning of another, a turning point defined by integrity, introspection, and the willingness to prioritize artistry over comfort. As he prepared to step into new roles and explore different projects, the question that had quietly guided him for years lingered. Could he forge a career that matched his vision, even if it meant leaving behind the fame and structure of Bonanza? This question, unanswered in 1965, would shape the trajectory of his life and career for decades to come. Leaving Bonanza in 1965 opened a new chapter for Pernell Roberts, one defined by independence and the pursuit of artistic fulfillment. Freed from the constraints of a character he had long admired yet increasingly felt confined by, Pernell began seeking roles that allowed him to explore depth and complexity. His career after Bonanza included appearances in television and film, most notably his later work in Trapper John, Maryland, where he brought gravitas and nuance to a long-running series decades after his Bonanza departure. These roles showcased his range and reminded audiences of his commitment to craft. Even as Pernell built a life beyond the Ponderosa, he remained aware of Michael Landon's growing fame. Landon had become not only the heart of Bonanza, but a rising force in television with his future work on Little House on the Prairie. Pernell's reflections on this success were measured and factual. He recognized Landon's talent and drive without diminishing his own achievements. While Landon thrived in the spotlight, Pernell pursued work that aligned with his vision of meaningful storytelling, often choosing roles that allowed him to explore characters with moral complexity, emotional depth, and subtlety. Public interviews during this period reveal a man mindful of his past, yet focused on the present. Pernell rarely spoke in detail about Bonanza, but when he did, he acknowledged the show's significance in shaping television westerns and its place in American culture. He often emphasized that his departure was not a matter of personal conflict, but a professional choice rooted in a desire to challenge himself as an actor. This distinction highlighted his integrity, a guiding principle that framed his career decisions for decades. Life after Bonanza was not without challenges. Pernell had stepped away from a series that offered fame, stability, and widespread recognition. Instead, he embraced a career that required persistence and a belief in his own artistic path. Roles in various television dramas and feature films allowed him to maintain visibility while prioritizing projects that resonated with him personally. Throughout these years, he remained disciplined, focused, and dedicated to the craft that had drawn him to acting in the first place. Despite the distance from the Ponderosa, Pernell's reflections on Michael Landon continued to evolve. He acknowledged Landon's enduring charisma and the way he connected with audiences, recognizing the skill required to sustain a career in Hollywood. Yet Pernell remained committed to authenticity over popularity, navigating a professional landscape where admiration and competition coexisted. The tension between these two paths, Landon's public-facing stardom and Pernell's private pursuit of artistic satisfaction, underscored the complexity of their relationship and the choices actors make when balancing personal values with career opportunity. By the late 1970s and into the 80s, Pernell Roberts had established a career defined less by fame and more by the roles that allowed him to grow, challenge himself, and maintain integrity. His life after Bonanza was a testament to resilience and focus, a quiet affirmation that success could be measured not only in awards or recognition, but in fidelity to one's principles. In reflecting on these years, a subtle truth emerges even outside the spotlight. Pernell's presence and craft continued to leave a mark on television, reminding audiences and peers alike of the depth of his talent and the thoughtfulness that guided his decisions. The question that lingered through these years was simple yet profound: could an actor find fulfillment and leave a lasting legacy without following the path of fame? Pernell Roberts' life after Bonanza quietly answered that question, with each carefully chosen role, each measured interview, and each moment spent shaping characters that reflected the depth of his talent and the integrity of his vision. Decades after leaving Bonanza, Pernell Roberts began speaking more openly about his time on the series and his relationship with Michael Landon. For years, he had remained measured, careful not to disparage colleagues, yet privately, he had reflected on the experiences that had shaped his career. In interviews and public discussions later in life, Pernell shared a candid perspective, revealing both respect for Landon's talent and the frustrations that had led him to step away from a show he had once embraced with such dedication. Pernell's honesty was rooted in fact. He acknowledged Landon's remarkable ability to connect with audiences, the charisma that made him a star, and the energy that sustained Bonanza through its most challenging years. He emphasized that any tension between them was never personal in a bitter sense, but professional, a divergence in approaches to acting and storytelling. Pernell had valued depth, subtlety, and moral complexity in his roles, while Landon thrived on charm, instinct, and a natural ease that captivated viewers. In revealing these truths, Pernell allowed fans and colleagues alike to understand the nuanced reality of working alongside a co-star whose talents complemented yet contrasted with his own. These reflections were not intended as criticism. Pernell spoke of Landon with a combination of admiration and factual acknowledgement. He described the decision to leave the show as one made for the sake of his craft, not as a reaction to rivalry. The interviews underscored a truth he had carried quietly for decades. Creative fulfillment sometimes requires making difficult choices, even when those choices come at the expense of comfort, stability, and public acclaim. Pernell's words painted a portrait of two men whose careers intersected dramatically, whose collaboration produced a television phenomenon, and whose paths diverged due to differing artistic priorities. Even in these later statements, Pernell highlighted moments of professional respect. He recounted occasions when he and Landon collaborated effectively, when scripts were improved through dialogue and careful consideration, and when performances on screen reflected their shared commitment to storytelling. These instances reinforced the idea that admiration and tension are not mutually exclusive, and that a professional relationship can be both challenging and rewarding simultaneously. Pernell's reflections illustrated the complexity of creative partnerships in Hollywood, where personal values, artistic goals, and public perception often intersect. By the time Pernell Roberts passed away in 2011, the truth he had carried for decades had been revealed. He did not seek to rewrite history or diminish Landon's legacy. Instead, he offered a nuanced account that honored both his own integrity and the talent of his former co-star. In doing so, he allowed the public to see beyond rumor and speculation, providing clarity about a relationship that had long been misunderstood. Pernell's willingness to speak candidly in the final years of his life underscored a lifelong commitment to authenticity, an insistence that personal and professional truths should be acknowledged rather than hidden. The final reflection from these revelations is both simple and profound. Admiration and frustration can coexist, and the choices made for artistic integrity often define a legacy more than fame or recognition. Pernell Roberts' candid perspective reshaped the understanding of his career and his relationship with Michael Landon, showing that even in silence, honesty and respect endure. It is a truth that only became fully visible in the final chapters of his life, leaving a legacy defined by courage, clarity, and unwavering commitment to craft. In the years following his departure from Bonanza, Pernell Roberts cultivated a legacy defined not by fame, but by integrity, depth, and an unwavering commitment to his craft. His roles in Trapper John, Maryland, and other television projects highlighted his ability to bring gravitas and authenticity to characters who demanded nuance and moral complexity. These choices reflected a deliberate path, one guided by the principle that meaningful storytelling outweighs the allure of celebrity. For Pernell, each role was an opportunity to explore human emotion, to challenge himself, and to honor the responsibility he felt to audiences who valued substance over spectacle. Throughout his later life, Pernell continued to reflect on Michael Landon's career with measured acknowledgement. Landon's enduring success on Little House on the Prairie and subsequent projects demonstrated a talent that resonated deeply with viewers, solidifying his place in television history. Pernell's admiration for Landon was tempered by the knowledge that their paths had diverged decades earlier, each pursuing a distinct vision of success. Where Landon embraced fame and accessibility, Pernell pursued depth and personal fulfillment, showing that legacy can take multiple forms, each equally valid in its impact. Pernell's reflections extended beyond professional accomplishments. He recognized the broader influence of his choices on actors and audiences alike, demonstrating that stepping away from a defining role requires courage and clarity. He became a quiet example of artistic independence, a reminder that integrity is often more enduring than public adoration. Colleagues noted his consistent professionalism, his thoughtful approach to acting, and his insistence on authenticity, qualities that left an indelible mark on everyone who worked with him. His measured perspective provided insight into the delicate balance between collaboration and individual vision, illustrating how creative partnerships can shape careers without defining them entirely. Even as the years passed, Pernell's relationship with Bonanza and its legacy remained central to his story. Interviews in the late 20th and early 21st centuries revealed a man who had reconciled his experiences with gratitude and reflection. He spoke of Landon and the show not with bitterness, but with clarity, offering audiences a candid understanding of the professional tensions and mutual respect that characterized his tenure. Pernell's willingness to share these reflections, even late in life, underscored a commitment to truth and the enduring value of honest self-expression. By the time of his passing in 2011, Pernell Roberts had left behind a legacy that extended far beyond the Ponderosa. He demonstrated that success is not solely measured by fame, ratings, or public recognition, but by the courage to pursue work that aligns with personal values and the integrity to speak truthfully about one's experiences. His life story, intertwined with Michael Landon's yet distinct, offers a testament to the complexities of professional relationships, the enduring impact of creative choices, and the quiet power of principled decision-making. Pernell Roberts' legacy endures as a reminder that the true measure of an artist lies not only in the roles they inhabit, but in the convictions they uphold, shaping a career and a life marked by respect, honesty, and enduring human truth. Pernell Roberts' journey from the Ponderosa to the quiet dignity of his later career reveals a man defined not by the spotlight, but by integrity and truth. His time on Bonanza introduced him to fame, camaraderie, and the complexities of working alongside a talented co-star in Michael Landon. Yet it was the choices he made after leaving the series, pursuing roles that offered depth, reflecting candidly on his experiences, and honoring his own creative vision, that truly defined his legacy. Through decades of measured reflection, Pernell acknowledged both the challenges and the admiration that shaped his relationship with Landon. He revealed a truth long held quietly: professional tension can coexist with respect, and leaving a role does not diminish the impact one leaves behind. His career, carefully curated and thoughtfully considered, demonstrates that courage and authenticity endure far longer than fleeting fame. Pernell Roberts reminds us that the true measure of an artist lies in the principles they uphold, the depth they bring to their work, and the clarity with which they face their own story. His legacy endures, a testament to honesty, artistry, and the subtle power of integrity in a world driven by recognition. For more emotional stories, check out this video.